Thank you so much. And by the way, guys, my name is Lindsay Russell. I am a civics teacher over at Southwest Middle School, just to introduce myself as well. Okay, and if you're just joining, again, there is that link to the example escape room. It's a couple, actually, I'll just go ahead and add it for you guys again if you want to go through it, and then just give me a heads up when you're done so I can get started when majority of you guys have finished. I'll probably wait like 2 or 3 more minutes, and then I'll go ahead and get started just so we can make sure we get through everything. Great, Paige. I'm glad. Okay, again, just let me know if you finish. I'll probably start maybe in like a minute, 10:03. And I think I have everyone unlocked. Good, I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. Last time it did take me about the whole amount of time just to go through each of the steps, so I want to make sure I can go through everything with you guys. So if you are just joining, there is an example escape room in the public chat that you can go through just to see how it's going to function. But I'm going to go ahead and jump in with how to actually create this. So I've set this training up so that you guys can actually just create an escape room along with me. So it's going to be pretty hands-on. I will be switching back and forth, so I might tell you guys to come back to this screen just to watch each step and then go to your Google form to do each step. So just listen out and I'll say come back to my screen just so you can see it. I do have the public chat up on my phone, so hopefully I catch all your questions as you have them. But Clint, please let me know if I am missing anything. And then as I'm going through, I'll just ask you guys to give me a yes or I'm good to let me know that you're ready for the next step, just so I don't move too quickly for anyone. And I'm going to show you how you can actually check each of your questions and make sure that it's functioning just like the practice one did. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to actually start sharing my screen with you guys. And then once you see my screen, if you can just give me a yes, just so we can make sure it's working. Okay.
It's working for me.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and move over to my Google Drive. So like I said, if you guys want to do this along with me, if you want to move over to your Google Drive, and then I'm going to open up a brand new Google form. So if you're not sure how to do this, you can watch on my screen first. So I just open up my Google Drive. I just have an escape room folder that I use. I'm going to go up here in the top to the new. And then Google Forms are under the More option. It's the very first option under More. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a brand new Google form. And then once you guys do that, if you can just give me a yes or an I'm good in the public chat, and then I'll go ahead and start with the first steps.
Lots of positive response.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've created our Google form. So we're going to start just very simply at the top, and we're going to add a title. So it says Untitled up here. I'm just going to name it Example Escape Room. And as I'm going through this, you guys are going to see I'm literally just going to recreate the exact escape room that you guys did, just so you can see how I did each of the functions. As I'm doing this, if you want to add in your own questions, you're more than welcome. I just want to go through each step with you guys. Okay, so I added in my title. So I had this form as you guys were doing it where it's collecting email addresses, which I think is helpful when we're doing it with students, especially with this distance learning, so we can check who's actually completing the escape room. If you want that to be turned off, though, you can actually do change settings, or if you do not have this option, up here at the top in the little gear, you can do collect email addresses. You can turn off collect email addresses. What I'm planning to use with my students during distance learning, so I've done these a lot in the classroom, but obviously it'll be different now. So I'm going to do response receipts. always. And what that's going to do is it's going to send a copy of the questions and answers to the students so they have it as review, because I usually use these as review games. So you can choose how you want that to be set up. And then just, again, maybe give me a yes if you're good with that step. Okay. Okay, good. So then we're going to add our first question. So again, just using this with students, the first question that I'm going to add to my escape rooms is going to be on this title slide. So it's something you guys didn't see on your example escape room. I'm going to add where it asks for their first and last name. So again, this is just a good way to monitor with your students. So on the very first option, when you added your title, it should have already given you a question. So it says untitled, and I'm just going to add first and last name. You want to do that step with me. And then you'll see once you click away, Google Forms should just try and guess what question you're doing. So it just guessed I wanted a short answer, which is what I want. I want them to type in their first and last name. So I'm good there. And then if you want to watch my screen really quickly, the one thing that you need to make sure as you're creating these escape rooms is that you want every question to be required. If your questions are not required, your students can just move through, complete the escape room without actually having to answer the questions. It should be automatic, so Google Form usually has it automatic, but you want the purple color to be on. So just make sure your questions are all required. So if you want to go ahead and create that name question and then just give me a yes or no, or ask me any questions if you do have. A couple. Okay, so again, just giving me a yes once you've created that first question, that name question. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to go ahead and create our first section. So this is just the title page. What we're going to do is use this right-hand menu. Okay, so you have this right-hand menu where you add questions, but at the very bottom, you're going to click Add Section. So if you want to watch on my screen as I do this, it's the two little rectangles. So I'm going to add a section. And as we're creating this escape room, you're going to see that we're going to create quite a few sections. And that's what creates those pages that you went through when you were doing the example escape room. So I created my first section. So now at the top, you can see you're on section 2 of 2. It's untitled. And our first section is just going to be our directions page. So I'm going to go ahead and in the public chat, plug in my directions for you guys, just in case you want to copy and paste to have them for your reference. So I just pasted those in for you. These are the directions I use, and this is the way that I have my escape rooms function. I want to have those 3 locks for students just as that, extra engagement, but you can change it up. And usually with my escape rooms, I do add more than one question to each lock. So again, the one that I made with you guys was just very simple, but you can add multiple questions. You can even add multiple sections under each lock. But I like to do the 3 locks, so at the end, they can do that final big lock. So I plugged in my directions and I just titled this section directions. I leave this one as just the directions section, so they have to pause and read it before they jump in. So once you create that, again, just give me a yes or an I'm good, or let me know if you have any questions. Okay, good. So I'm seeing a majority of you guys. Okay, so we're again going to go ahead and create another section. So like I said, this is going to have quite a few sections. So once you create a section, your next section, you should be on section 3 of 3. So again, it's that little rectangle button. And you're going to name this section lock number 1. So we're going to go ahead and jump in with our first lock. So once you've done that and named your third section, I'm sorry, again, just give me a yes. Okay, perfect. So this is where we're going to go ahead and add our first question. So I'm going to go through 3 different types of questions with you guys. It's, again, the same questions that you went through, so you can see how to create each type. So to do this, again, on that same right side menu where you added a section, I'm going to use the top button. It's like a little plus sign to add a question. And then I'm going to type in, again, I'm just recreating the same one you guys did. So I'm going to type in, what month is it? So that's going to be my question. And you'll see that in this case, Google Form is going to guess that I want it to be multiple choice, but I actually want it to be a short answer. So where it says multiple choice, that's actually a drop-down menu. I'm going to come here and I'm going to change it to the very top, short answer. And then at the very bottom, there is these 3 little dots. I want you to go ahead and click those and turn on response validation. Right, so you're changing it to short answer and then clicking the 3 little dots and turning on response validation. And then I'll stop there just to make sure you guys are good. And so just give me a yes when you get those couple steps. Okay. So once you turn on response validation, you should see this little extra line appear. So if you, again, want to watch this on my screen and then recreate it on yours. So right now, it just happens that Google Form guessed that I wanted to do a number, but I actually want it to be text because obviously I want the answer like you guys saw it to be April. So on this first little drop down where it says number, I'm going to change it to where it says text. On the second drop down, it automatically did contains, which is what I want, but if yours did something else, go ahead and change it to contains. And then where it says text is where you're going to type your actual answer. So in this case, I want it to be April. It is case sensitive, so I do want that first letter to be capitalized, so I'm going to type it in capitalized. And then where it says custom error text, this is where you give them that little hint. So I told you guys as you went through the example escape room, try and get a couple of the answers wrong to see what it looked like. If you got it wrong, it would pop up as like a little red text and it would say, I think this one said one single word, first letter is capitalized. So you want something like that in that last box. If you are to leave the last box blank, the hint that it's going to give the students is the actual answer. So if I left this blank and you got it wrong, what would pop up is literally just the word April. So you have to type something into that last box, even if it's just try again or, rework your answer, whatever it is, you need something in that last box. Okay, so go ahead and do that next step. So you're changing your answer validation. So again, the first menu should be text. Second one is contains. And then you're plugging in your answer and your hint. And then go ahead and give me again a yes or an I'm good. Or if you do have any questions, please let me know. I'm watching that public chat. Okay, I see a couple. Okay. Okay, so we've created our first lock. With this, like I said, I'm just doing the 1 question per lock just to show you guys how to create them. If you were to want to add multiple questions to a lock, you could just do add question the same way we did. So again, when I make them for students, it'll usually have a few questions per lock. So I'm going to kind of pause here on creating the escape room because I want to show you guys how to make sure that you're testing your escape room as you create it, just to make sure that, again, everything is functioning properly. So at the very top, and if you don't know how to do this, again, you can watch on my screen, all the way towards the right corner, you have like a little eyeball symbol, and it says preview. So I'm going to click that preview, and it's going to act like I'm going through the escape room. So I'm going to test this out, and I'm going to actually go through my escape room, make sure everything is going to the correct section, and I'm even going to type in a wrong answer here just to make sure that it is giving me that hint. So you see it's giving me the hint there. I'm going to try and make sure that it works, it doesn't work even if it's not capital, all of that, just to make sure, again, it's going through the correct steps. So now I got it right. It's letting me submit. So that first lock was created correctly. So if you want to take a second and just double check your first lock, I just want to show you guys that. So as we go through and create each lock, maybe take a second and test them so you can make sure that your functions are working correctly. And if not, you can ask me questions on the spot. So take a second, test your first lock, and then again, just give me a yes or an I'm good, or if it is not functioning correctly, let me know. Okay, great, Kim. Okay. Okay, so I got a couple of you guys. So again, just letting me know if it's functioning correctly, and if not, let me know. Okay, good. So as we go through each lock, like I said, feel free to do that just to check in. And then if you see that one of the locks is not functioning correctly, please let me know so we can make sure that we get the right settings on there. So I'm going to go ahead and come back to my creation tab. Now, as you're doing this, you need to make sure that you are clicked on the correct section. So for example, if I was clicked up here on section 2, if I added another section, it's going to add it here under section 2, but I want it to be underneath section 3. So I'm going to click this last question just to make sure I'm in the correct order. And then again, we're going to do the same thing we did before at the very bottom on that right-hand side menu. I'm going to click Add Section. And then you should see that if you're following along with these exact steps, you're on section 4 of 4. And this is where the students will have, opened that first lock. So I usually just use, you've opened the first lock number 1, your secret number for this lock is, and I can put that title in the public chat as well if you're just copying and pasting. So you've opened lock number 1, the secret number for this is, and then I'm going to show you guys how to add a picture. So as you guys saw when you were going through, each number was a big picture for them. Again, it's just to, add that fun, that engagement for them. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So if you want to watch on my screen. So I'm using that same right side menu we've been using for sections and questions. And in the middle, I'm going to click where it says Add Image. So it's the 4th one down. It's going to bring up this box for me. So you can upload pictures, and you can do this for other pictures. Like if you're using pictures within your questions, you can use this function. You can do it by URL. And then I usually just use Google Image Search. Okay, you can even do like Google Drive. And I'm going to just search number 9. It gives me those different number options. I'm going to add just whichever one looks good. And then I've added in my first secret number. All right, so again, just give me a yes once you've added that step, or if you do have any questions, let me know. And again, as you're going through this, feel free to use any numbers you'd like. Okay, see a couple yeses. Okay. Okay, so I think that's majority of you guys. So we should have added in that number. I see a couple typing. Okay, that's perfect. That works well. And this will be recorded. So yeah, you can go back and follow along. Okay, so I've added in my number 9. So it's my first lock. So now I'm going back to my right-hand side menu at the very bottom, same little section button. I'm going to add my next section, and that's going to be section 5. So now we're going to move and we're going to do the same thing we did for lock 1. I'm going to name this lock number 2. And then on the right-hand side menu, again, I'm adding a question. So it's that top option, that little plus symbol. And for this one, I'm using numbers. So I'm going to add 2 plus, I think I did 2 plus 4 equals question mark. And I'm going to, again, change it to a short response. I'm sorry, a short answer. Okay, so it's the same thing we did with that previous question. So again, just give me a yes once you've done that. So I added a section. I labeled it as lock number 2. I used the plus symbol on the right-hand side to add a question, entered my question, and made it a short answer. Okay, so again, just give me a yes once you're good with that step. I see a couple. Okay, so with this next question, it is going to be a short answer like we did before, but I do want to show you the number functions because there is quite a few options for numbers. So at the bottom, I'm going to use that same little 3 dots. I'm going to turn on response validation. And again, that little bottom row should pop up. So this time I'm going to leave that first drop-down menu on number. So it guessed number for me, but if it guessed text for you, you can change it to number. I'm going to change the second one to equal to. But if you click that drop-down menu, there's quite a few options. So if you're doing this with like math problems, it's actually great. You can do greater than, you can do less than, equal to. So you have quite a few options there. I'm going to, again, do equal to. And then my number here is 6. So I'm going to type that into the third box where it says number. And then again, just make sure you have that custom error text so they're getting some sort of hint. So I'm going to type in here, I think I did like 1 single digit. So again, just give me a yes once you're good with that step. Or if you are having issues with the number menus, just let me know. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I mean, that was actually our lock number 2. So it's similar to the lock number 1. So we're done with that, that whole section. So again, we're going to go back to the right side menu because I got majority of you saying yes. We're going to go ahead and again, at the very bottom, add a section again. So like I said, the sections does get a little repetitive. And then they've unlocked lock number 2. So I'm going to title it the same thing as lock number 1. Just make sure you're changing those numbers. So you've opened lock number 2. And then again, on that right-hand side, I'm going to do add an image. And I'm going to do here, I think I did number 8 before. So I'm going to add in a number 8. Okay, and that's going to be my lock number 2. Okay, so again, just giving me a yes, I'm good, or please ask any questions. Okay, I think that was most of you guys. Okay, perfect. Okay, so again, on that right-hand side, we're going to add one last lock. So we're going to do another section. So I'm going to title this lock number 3. I'm going to add a question on the right-hand side again. And then for this last one, I am going to do multiple choice. So I want my option here on the right-hand drop-down menu to stay as multiple choice. And I'm going to type, what year is it? So again, it's that same question you guys did. Sometimes it does try and again guess what I'm doing. So if it changes yours to short response, just change it to multiple choice again. And then just add in your multiple choice answers. So I'm going to add in 2019, 2020, 2021. So you want some wrong answers in there. Okay, so again, just give me a yes once you're good with that step. So again, I added a new section, lock number 3. And then I added my my question for this lock, made it multiple choice. And I'm just doing, what year is it? I added in 3 options, 2019, 2020, 2021. So you want to have your right answer, but some wrong answers. And then just give me a yes. Okay, so I will tell you guys the multiple choice ones are the ones that do get a little involved because you do have to route a couple of sections. So if you do have any questions, please let me know. And after we're done creating this one, I would definitely suggest go back and test it to make sure that your sections are routing the correct way. So test like your correct answer, but test all of your incorrect answers as well. So with your multiple choice question, we're going to go to our little 3-dot menu again, where we were turning on response validation. But instead, we're going to click where it says go to section based on answer. So it's the second option. And go ahead and turn that on. Go to section based on answer. And then you should get little drop downs next to each of your answer options. Okay. And then just give me a yes once you're good there. So make sure that your screen looks like mine. So make sure that you have next to each answer option where it says continue to next section. Okay. So we're actually going to leave this multiple choice here. We're going to come back to this. What we're actually going to do is create our final lock. So we're going to create lock number 3. So that, or actually, I'm sorry, I'm skipping a step. We're going to first create our page. So it's basically like the wrong answer page where we want them to route if they are getting the answer incorrect. So on the right-hand side, again, we're going to the bottom, 2 rectangles, add a section. And then I think in this one, I think I just titled it, go back and check your work or try again for the incorrect answer section, basically. So go back and check your answer. And then in the description, I think I just had, is that really the correct year? So you want to make a section just like that. So again, you can check on my screen. So and you should be on section 8. So double check you're on section 8 and then just title it however you want it to look if they're getting the multiple choice answer incorrect. And then again, just give me a yes. Okay. So we've created that section. Again, we're going to come back to multiple choice in this section, and we're going to create one last section. It's just easier if you have all your sections done before routing the multiple choice question. So I'm going to create one more section, and I'm going to label it, I was doing you've unlocked lock number 3. Okay, so I'm making my you've unlocked lock number 3 screen. I'm going to add in an image. I think I did number 4 for this lock, so I'm going to add in a number 4 here. And I've created my lock number 3. So go ahead and make that lock number 3 for me. And then again, just give me a yes. And then we're going to go back to our multiple choice. Okay. So Kim is good. Michelle's good. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we've created our lock number 3, and this is where we're now going to go backwards. So I'm going to come back up to my multiple choice question. So again, if you want to watch this on my screen first. So we should have next to each answer option where it says continue to next section. And we're going to now change this. So if they get the answer wrong, they're routed to the wrong answer section. But if they get it right, they're routed to the lock. So 2019 would be a wrong answer. So I want them to route to this section here. And at the very top, just double check your numbers. So I want them to route basically to section 8. So I'm going to change this right-hand drop-down menu to section 8. 2021 is also wrong. So I'm going to do the same thing, change it to section 8. 2020 is correct though. So I'm going to change it to section 9. So section 9 is my lock. So I'm going to change this one here to section 9. So if you were doing it in this exact order as mine, it should be 2019 section 8, 2020 is section 9, and 2021 is section 8 again. Okay, so go ahead and do that. I'm going to leave my screen here so you can look at my exact options and then give me a yes. I would suggest that at this point with the multiple choice, go into preview mode and double check that it's functioning correctly. And do that by first checking the wrong answers. Make sure the wrong answers route to the wrong answer page. And then do the correct answer. And I know the wrong answer page is not going to route you correctly yet. I just want to make sure the multiple choice question is working right. Okay, I got majority yeses there, so just make sure you double check, but I'll go ahead and move to the next step. So we routed our multiple choice options. We also need to route our go back and check your answer page. If they get it wrong, we don't want them to move forward to the lock. We want them to come back to section 7 where the question is. We want them to try again. So with section 7, I'm sorry, with section 8 at the bottom where it says continue to next section. So again, if you want to watch this on my screen, I'm going to change this one to section 7. So what this is going to do is if they get it wrong, it's going to push them backwards and they're going to have to attempt the question again. Okay, so go ahead and do that step. Again, I would double check it. So I would double check your wrong answers in your preview mode. Make sure it's routing correctly. And then give me a yes and I'm good, or tell me if it is not routing correctly. Okay, I see Anne's good. Okay. Okay, so I think that's most of you guys. Okay, and if you do see it's not routing correctly, Melanie just logged in late. Okay, Melanie, so the first link was like an example escape room. So if anything, I would go back and watch the recording and then you can go through the steps with the recording. So it should be posted later today. I'm not sure why the first link is not working, but I can send it again at the end. Okay, so we created our multiple choice answer, our wrong answer screen, and then we created our lock number 3. So at this point, the students will have gone through all 3 locks. So we're going to go ahead and do our final lock. So I'm going to add a new section. And then you should be on section 10. So this is where we're going to do the you escaped, like the final big lock. So I usually just name it like unlock the box. So once you're physically in a classroom again, what I like to do is I actually have a little box from Amazon where I change the number combination to the number combination they do on the Google form, and they can like physically do it as well as doing it with the form. So I'm going to do unlock the box. Ooh, I just changed my lock by accident, actually. So first of all, add a section. So on the right-hand side, I'm going to add a section. Oh, you know what? I think I'm doing exactly what I said not to do. Make sure you click on your number 4 so your section gets added at the end. So I, by accident, was adding my sections, I think up here at the top somewhere. So I'll delete those. So I'm going to add a section at the bottom. So now I'm on section 11. Okay, I think I have sections in here somewhere that are not supposed to be in here. Okay, so I'm not sure where those sections went for me. Okay, so you guys should be on section 11. Are you guys on section 11? Give me a yes or no. Okay, so I'm not sure why I had to click add section so many times. So never mind, I didn't add any random sections. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to name my new section 11, unlock the box. And then I'm going to add a question just like we did before. And I want it to be, again, on the little right-hand drop-down menu, short answer. And I'm going to make it enter your 3-digit code below. Be on short answer. And then as you saw, Google Forms just, it guessed I wanted it to be a number, which I do. If yours did not automatically know you wanted response validation, you add it with those 3 little dots at the bottom. It's that second option, response validation again. I do want it to be a number. So my first drop down is going to be a number. And then it should be equal to. So I want it to be equal to. It guessed number is number, but then they can type in any number. So make sure you change it to equal to. And then my code, I put in 984. So you want them to guess that 984. And then your hint can just be try again, or maybe you can even say go back and check your answers, your codes. Students can go backwards. So let's say they forget the first number from lock number 1. As long as they've answered the questions correctly, they can move backwards, check the number, and then come back up to the code. So that is the good thing if they do forget their little 3-digit code. Okay, so go ahead and let me know once you've done this final lock. Give me a yes. Okay. Some typing. Scroll up, I only have 10 sections. Okay, so and I have 11 sections. So I have my initial title, my directions, my lock number 1, opening lock 1, my lock number 2, opening lock 2, my lock number 3, my this is my wrong answer page for the multiple choice. So is it possible you missed that wrong answer page or wrong answer section? And then I have my unlocking, oh, you know what it is? I did create an extra section. I'm sorry, guys. So you should probably be on section 10. So it looks like I separated my lock from my title somehow. Yeah, okay, so I somehow created a separate section. I thought so. So I'm just going to delete this. So on the right-hand side, this is actually good to learn anyways. On the right-hand side, I can do delete section, and then I can also even move it. So if I want to drag it down, I could. Okay, or you could do just choose move, but I'm going to delete it here. It felt like I was clicking it too many times. So yeah, I'm sorry, and you should be on 10. Okay, so that's my lock number 4. And then yes, I'm on section 10. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Okay, so I think everyone is good with creating that last section then. So we created the unlock the box, we added in our code. So I'm going to click here again so I don't create those accidental extra sections again. So at the bottom, I'm going to create one last section, and I just create this as a little congratulations. So section 11, I'm going to title it You Escaped. And then I'm going to show you guys how to add a video. So at the end of the escape room you saw there was that little celebration video. So on the right-hand side menu where we kept adding an image, Directly beneath that, I'm going to click Add Video. And then it will bring up YouTube for you. You can even search a video and add a URL. I'm going to type in Celebrate. I'm going to add that first video. And then that's how at the very end of the escape room, you guys were able to see that little celebration video. Okay, so that's what I do for my section 11. And then you guys will have created your first escape room. I would say definitely take maybe a minute or two, go through the entire escape room, make sure that you're doing wrong answers and right answers, make sure that it's routing the correct way. And if you're seeing errors, let me know. And then I'm going to take a second and I'll show you guys how to send this out to your students. So first, just take a second. Oh, I'm glad you liked it, Kim. I'm sure they're going to enjoy it. So take a second, double check your routing, and then let me know if something is routing the wrong way. And then I'm going to show you how to send this out to your students. You just want to give me a yes once you've double checked it. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad you guys liked it. And I scroll up to 10, yes. So this is my section 10. And then I'll even, these are my, this is how I make my section 10 function, Michelle. So I put on number equal to, I put in my code, I put in a little hint. Let me know if you're having issues with that one, Michelle. Okay, perfect. Okay, so I think most of you guys are okay. I think if you are having issues, just let me know. I want to take a minute and just show you how to send this out to students and then how to check in with their responses. So I will tell you guys, to finish the escape room, they do have to get each answer correct. So the answers will, of course, be correct when you go through the responses. But up at the top, so this is the one I sent out to you guys. It says responses here, if you want to watch on my screen. So it's a 17 responses. This is how you can check in with who's doing it. Okay, so who's like, going through the entire escape room. So like your email addresses are there. In the one that you guys created, you should have the question option. I'm sorry, the name option. So you should also see their names there. And then, like I said, the questions are there, but they are going to have all the correct answers just because they can't move forward without having the correct answers. Clint, where are the BBB recordings posted again?
Okay, so the same place that you clicked on for this link to come to this presentation, you will go to that same place in the distance learning. What is it called? I've got that page open somewhere. Yeah, the distance learning support sessions. The link there, instead of being the link to this room, it will be the link to the recording. And we'll have that. It'll take, probably take an hour or so to render, and then we'll link it up, and someone will put it up on the site. But it, definitely later today it should be up.
Yeah, I think it took like 3 hours. It was very slow last time, but I will send you the link as soon as I get it to post.
That's great.
Okay. And then the last thing I do want to show you guys, so like I said, you have the responses there. I want to show you just to make sure you know how to send it out. Up at the top, you have, so it's like the little right-hand corner near preview, you have this send button. And then you can email it to people, but I use the second option. It's like this little paper clip. And then you can copy this link, and that's the link that I was sending out to you guys. So that's what you could post if you're posting it in Canvas, or if you're sending it out to your students, that's the link that you could give them.
Now, I'm curious, I've never done this, but it gives you an embed code link right there next to the regular link, the two little, the two carrots there.
Yes.
I wonder if you copy that into your Canvas page, if it'll just live in Canvas and be able to work so the students aren't bouncing in and out from Canvas onto something else. Because you can do that with BrainPop.
Yes, so you can embed Google Forms. So yeah, you could use this as well. You just have to put it into, when you're putting it in Canvas, there's like an embed option. So yeah, you could do that as well. I guess that's the way I do it with my students. I didn't even think about that, but yeah, you could embed it straight into a Canvas module. Yes, that's a good point.
Just one less tab.
Yes, and there's I think it's right next to, on Canvas, right next to where you link a URL, there's actually an embed option. So you could do that for sure.
Excellent.
If you guys have any questions though, let me know. But yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed. I hope you have fun creating these for your students. And I'm glad you guys all joined.
You've got one question from Melanie about recommendations for how many questions and how long the escape room should be.
Okay, so with like, so I can show you one of my civics ones. I can actually pull it up. My internet is very slow. Let me go to one of my modules. I think this was module 9. Sorry guys, 1 second. I meant to have this open, but I forgot this morning. Okay, so this is one that I used in my classroom. So like I said, this is for like a civics unit that we were doing. So I have the same like setup. So I do lock number 1. So I have with lock number 1, I did like one first section. So it had, I think, like 3 different questions. I added like an image for the questions. And then within lock number 1, I actually did even a second section. So like I have a second section in lock 1 with 2 other questions before and then, oh, actually, I'm sorry. With this one, I did 3 sections in lock 1. So I think it's a total of like 7 questions per section. So this is my lock 1. Lock 2, I did about the same. So I have like 3 questions. I add images in there. So I did this, and in the classroom, we did this escape room, and it probably took them about 25 minutes to go through the entire escape room. And again, there's about 6 to 7 questions. They're all short response here per lock. So that's usually how I like to create them. I use a lot of short answer. I like to make sure that they're writing instead of just doing multiple choice, but every now and then I plug them in there just for fun. But I do mostly writing questions, and I usually do about 6 or 7 per lock. But again, it really depends on, of course, like your content and what you're doing. Set up the grading of a writing response with spelling issues. So that would be up to you. Like I said, I usually use these as like a review game or an engagement tool. It's hard to, I would say it's kind of hard to necessarily grade it based on spelling, because they are going to have to get the correct answers before they move forward, Melanie, because with the escape room, they do have to get it right before they move forward. So you'd have to see. I know that I also don't really add in like graded questions to my escape rooms, but I know there was another PD about that. Spelling of the word, determining whether they get it wrong. So Melanie, we did that with the response validation. So I think you were saying you missed the beginning of it. So we did it with response validation. So at the bottom of each question, you can turn on with the 3 little dots, response validation, and then you can plug in the correct answer, and you can plug in a hint. Is that what you mean? Yeah, that's okay. So I can show you really quickly here. So I did for lock number 1, if you want to watch my screen, I did at the bottom the 3 little dots here, and then I turned on response validation. So I think it's going to turn it off now, but response validation. I wanted the answer here to be April, so I'm going to change this first drop down to text. I'm going to leave this as contains, and then I'm going to type my correct answer here, and then a hint here. So make sure in the last box you always type a hint. If not, it will show them the correct answer. And then you should have your correct answer here in this second box. Is that what you meant, Melanie? I'm sorry, third box. Yeah, so they do have to spell it correctly. So that is how response validation works. And if they do type it wrong, they're going to get the hint, like here I have try again. So they're going to get that little hint to say try again. So they're going to have to like keep working on that spelling. And yes, it is case sensitive. Good question. So that's why I think for this one, when you did the example, I think I had it as first letter is capitalized. And then I put like single word, one single word.
And Anne, I saw your question about if it's embedded, if they'll need to be logged into Google Drive. It will probably, if they're not, it will probably prompt them to log in on the Canvas page. And so that's because it'll have to validate.
Yeah, they will have to for sure be on their OCPS account too, because I know a lot of kids will go in even though they're not supposed to with those personal accounts, but it will make them log in with their OCPS Google. Any other questions though? Sorry, Mr. Ann. That was everyone. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming, and I hope you enjoy creating these and using these with your students. I mean, I plan to use them with mine during distance learning. I'm hoping they're going to be a great engagement tool. So yeah, thank you guys so much, and enjoy, and good luck with distance learning.